Good evening, it's Divine Readings with the Gypsy, and today I am going to do my top 10 decks of 2017. Oh my god! Yay! I've been meaning to do this video because this video is one of those videos that everybody loves to watch. I love to watch top 10 videos. Everybody I know loves to watch top 10 videos. And it's kind of cool to see what you're working with and what has been calling you. And this list is based on not necessarily my favorite decks. It's kind of more of my most used decks of 2017. From June 1st all the way till today, which I believe it's the 18th of July. So, there you go. No further ado, let's jump into the list. First deck that I'm going to show with you all today is the Tabla Mundi Tarot. And this one has definitely been like one of those top 10 decks of 2017, especially in the beginning of 2017 from like, I think, December all the way through almost March, February, March. So this deck has been on that it's been on the wish list for a while, but has been kind of one of those decks that has just been on my shelf, immediate shelves and things like that of 2017. I'm feeling like it's not focusing today. Let me see if I can. Alright, hopefully it is focusing so that you guys can see it, because I'm not seeing it through the camera and I'm only looking through the camera today. And it has some of my favorite imagery, honestly, because I love the Thoth system. I love what she did with the art, and I love what symbolisms from the Thoth inspired art that she did use in here. We all know the Rosetta Tarot, and that's actually one of my top favorite decks too. However, I feel like this is like the better version of the Rosetta Tarot. I'm not saying that the Rosetta Tarot is bad. I love the Rosetta Tarot, but this is like that crisp lines. The art has that balance of pastel and color, and even down to the animals is really beautiful and elegant, with the owls and the lemurs and even the catfish. I am just in love with this deck, and I love the symbolism in it, and I was really using this really hard and reading with this very hard in the beginning of this year. And look at the shiny in the back. I'm a sucker for shiny. I know it. And my number 9 deck has got to be the Good Tarot. I wish that this was not my top deck that I've been using this year, but this is one of the decks that I have been using this year, and I'm kind of pleasantly surprised by it. I'm probably going to try to redo decks that surprised me of 2017 too, because I've received a lot of new decks, and I think the decks that surprise you is actually kind of a good prompt, because especially when you are buying new decks and you are a new deckaholic, because when you're getting new decks and stuff, I'm sorry, it just, some of the imagery here, you could say, like, I don't like photo manipulated art, but it's just the way they did this deck. I think they did it well. And I'm not using this deck for readings. I'm using them all for writing. This is a great writing deck. I get inspired to write and my stories and things like that when I'm using this deck, even though they're fictional. And the reason why I'm trying to keep them in a certain order is because I'm trying to edge it in a copper And I'm trying to save money and not buy another copper marker that comes with another gold and silver. So I might have to go on Amazon and see if they just sell just copper Sharpie. But I like that deck. That's a good deck. And my next deck of 2017 that I used really hard, especially when I first got it, is the Epic Tarot. My husband got this deck for me for my birthday, and I have to say this deck is pretty epic. I don't know, there's something very inspiring about this deck. I even use this for my writing, yet again, like the Good Tarot. It really inspires me to want to write. I don't know what it is. It's a very inspiring deck, and I haven't done too many readings, honestly, with this deck. But the readings that I have done, they were pretty deep. They were like, whoa, whoa, dude, that's pretty deep. I know, dude. Kind of deck. And I even like some of the imagery, sensual imageries that they have, the epic fantasy imageries that they have. Oh, this is my favorite Wheel of Fortune card of all time, and I think I had that in my top, what was it, my Terra Tarot hashtag, the 22 faves. And it's just a really nice deck. It's very masculine. It's very divine masculine. So if anyone is a male or a female tarot reader that is looking for a divine masculine deck that kind of breaks the mold a little bit, I think this is the deck that you need to have. And I'm thinking about edging it silver because it kind of looks a little plain just having that white. It's such a gorgeous deck. I absolutely love it. Alright, and my next deck might not be a surprise to many of you, but it may surprise some of you, is the Roerig Tarot. And this is the one I've had, but I did recently buy a backup copy from Russia. And the Russian backup copy, I should have brought it out, probably will. The Russian backup copy is, I etched it in black. And it has that matte, that sexy matte on it. That it feels very, it's like that soft matte feel. And it feels so good in your fingertips. And this is what it looks like. I really do like the Russian version. However, I feel like the colors are very, believe it or not, muted in this Russian version deck. And I still want to do a side-by-side comparison with my two Roerig decks. But yeah, this deck is just, oh, this was one. That was on that one image. I think you could see exactly what I'm talking about. It's a lot more muted and darker in the Russian version than it is in the, this is the trim Spanish edition, and I don't feel like the cardstock kind of reminds me of that US gaming system thick cardstock. It had the ugly white border, so I just trimmed it down. But I don't mind black borders on a deck, and that's why I kept the borders on the Russian deck version. And it also goes with the darker theme of the Russian version too, in my opinion. Roerig Tarot. No further ado, I'll go to the next deck. My next deck kind of shocked me. It's a deck that surprised me, but it's not a new deck either. This deck has been in my collection for quite some time. This is like the, I'm gonna butcher it. It's like 1839, 37, maybe even, it's, I'll put like a text somewhere up here on the screen and let you all know what the right name of this deck is. I always butcher it every single time I do a video. And I always have to put a prompt somewhere up on the screen. Remind myself that it is this deck, and that's what it's called. And this deck surprises me because I actually love working with it because it's like that old historical Marseille deck. It makes me feel like a real tarot reader, like I said in that spoof video I did. It really does make me feel like a real tarot reader. And I have got some of the most divine, beautiful readings from this deck. And I don't know, there's just something magical about it. I was going to say something, and it was going to be profound. Damn it. It'll come back to me, or it was not important about this deck. What was I going to say? Uh-oh. I just might as well forget about it. Forget. But that's my 18 whatevers Marseille deck, and I really do enjoy reading with it. It reads so well. It's so beautiful. I like block prints, regardless who else doesn't. My next deck may not surprise any of you is the first edition of the Terra Prague. And I don't know about nothing. I don't know in a bad way, but I don't know in a good way. This one kind of surprised me. I paid a crap load of money, and this is one of the alternate death cards in this deck, exclusive to the first edition of the Terra Prague, I believe. And this one kind of shot me out of left corner because I love that cardstock, the old cardstock, and I could almost feel that print, you know, that Terra Prague print on the cards here. And it's just, I always loved the Terra Prague. It's a stunning, stunning deck, in my opinion. I paid a pretty good price for this, and I think that's what I was going to say in the about the Marseille deck over here real quick. When I first got this deck, it was only $35, and I thought that was expensive at the time. Now this deck is somehow selling for almost $200 to $300. I couldn't believe it. It was ridiculous. And I think it was because it was a limited edition run by US Games or something like that. It was insane. Insane. Back to this deck. I actually paid a pretty good price on this deck, and I believe what I paid for this deck was a steal. I just went on eBay recently, and the cheapest I've seen this deck go for, the same exact deck that I have right here, go for just now on eBay is $300, and I saw somebody put $1,500, another $1,500 edition of the Terra Prague listing on eBay. But it in my opinion, that has to be unwrapped, brand new out of the box, but even then I would never pay that price for this. I paid less than $200, maybe with shipping $200 for this deck, and it was the first edition. You just gotta wait. And that's my lecture for all of you who are wanting to buy limited edition decks or seeking to buy limited edition decks that are out of print and out of stock and not really accessible, is that you gotta be patient for the right buyer to come along. I hope I don't have to be patient for the A.E. Waite or the A.G. Mueller Rider-Waite deck, and hopefully I could strike a deal with somebody to trade overseas, or somebody overseas buy me the deck and I give over a deck that of their choosing or something like that. I would probably work out a deal with somebody. My next deck is an Eliminigalo deck, and it is the Niabi Tarot, or Niabi Tarot, depending on how you say it. And I'm telling you, this is a sexy deck. This is a beautiful deck down to the cardstock. The colors are bold. I just absolutely love this deck. This deck gets me. It's like talks to my quirky insides. It just gets me. I love the little teacups. I love the little funny man. Just everything about this deck, it gets my personality, and it just gets me. Maybe this was a deck that I owned way back when, back in the times, you know, in my reincarnation years. Who knows? You never know. But I feel like this deck and I just are like two peas in pods. I love this deck. And I love doing readings with this deck. And I love just doing photography with this deck. Expression with this deck. This deck is just awesome. The mass-produced version of this deck is called the Master Tarot, I believe. And this one is the Minigala version. And I got this one for about $50 or so on eBay, but it was worth it. It was so worth it. My next deck I have here, I think it's not going to be any surprise to any of you who are already seeing the bag. And I'm going to warn you, this deck has some perverted imagery on it. Is the new Usi deck, the Garden of Love. I'm telling you, my family even got a kick out of this deck. And it's just so funny. I even showed this on a live chat that I was doing. A few others that were able to join my live chat. And they were just kicking up a storm with this deck. This deck kind of like unites people in a fun, lighthearted sort of way. And I just love it. It just... Usi, you made a really cool deck. And it gets everybody at their funny bone. I love this deck. This deck is awesome. And it does really cool readings too. And I love... Oh my god, he is like my favorite deck card of all time. Oh man, he's so damn funny. You're funny! Love it. I love it. I love it. Love it. And I just... If I could just bottle him up and put him on my shelf all day, I would do it. So my next deck is going to be number 2. Is the Barbara Walker deck. And I'm sorry about the background noise. My husband is putting the kids to bed. And I'm telling you, everybody, if you can get this deck, the 10 deck, I think it would be worth every penny. If you love the Mary L, you will love this deck. And this is one of those top 5 or 10, whatever, underrated decks of all time. It's that good. And I think everybody should be on board with this deck. And especially the 10 versions doesn't have all those multi-languages on the bottom. Probably should wait until the kids go to bed. They always go to bed. Scream before they go to bed. I'm sorry about the screaming kids in the background. They always cry when they go to bed, and no matter what we do, they always will try to cry and make a fuss when they go to bed. Oh well. But that's the Barbara Walker Tarot, and I'm going to try to hurry it up so you don't have to hear screaming kids during the video. And my last deck, drumroll please, my number 1 deck of 2017 is the Ellis Tarot. Some of you may be like, no way, yes way, no way, yes way. This deck blew me out of the fucking water. I did not have this deck for 2 weeks, and this deck went boom, dynamite. Blew me out of the fucking water. And I just... This is like that Deviant Moon, but I feel like it's better than the Deviant Moon. Shh, I love Patrick Fuenza decks. But every image, every card, everything on the card, I'm like, I get you. I love you. Down to his turtle, down to his beard and the beautiful light that he has in his hands, the oh, every single card, every single image. It's like Rider-Waite heaven. Awesome. If for a Rider-Waite deck, I think this is my new all-time favorite Rider-Waite deck clone. And it is a clone of the Rider-Waite deck, but it's like, yes, yes, yes. Maybe this will be my new top soul deck. Who knows? I am still looking for soul decks, by the way, and this is part of my tarot journey of looking through decks as soul decks potential right here. Although I have to say, if there was any one ultimate soul deck, I'd still go to the Terra Prague. Don't say it. Anything. This deck surprised me so much that I even got the drumroll please, the borderless edition. Oh my god. And with the plastic borderless edition. And it's a big meaty deck, the plastic version, but you just totally get to see the images clear in a more intimate personal light. And I just absolutely love it. This deck and I are best friends now. We're bros. And I love the plastic edition. I love even the regular paper edition for a more portable deck. But I want to show you what plastic feels like. I know it's not biodegradable, but I'll show you what plastic feels like. Oh, sexiness. Uh-oh. That's how I shuffle this deck, is I do the side shuffle, and it actually does pretty good. And I kind of knew that I was going to have to side shuffle it when I got the deck. Because I knew that that was my only drawback to having this deck is, oh, hold on. I'm also trying to side shuffle with the tripod in my hands, but I kind of knew that when I got this big jumbo plastic edition of the Ellis deck. So I knew that I had a side shuffle and I was going to have a harder time shuffling this deck. Although rifle shuffling plastic decks is the bomb. There we are. Ah, fucked up. Oh well. Hold on. Let me see if I could get one more really good side shuffle here. Alright, and then I do some overhands. And we're going to try to draw a card from this Monster Edition. Although I don't know if it will be any successful with a tripod between my hands. Ah, Page of Cups. And what the Page of Cups likes to say is Page is a physical and emotional. And he says sometimes you don't have to cry all the time. Look at my beautiful eyes. Don't cry, Argentina. You know that I always loved you. I'm such a freaking goober sometimes. I'm a floober. But no, that's kind of what the Page of Cups usually says. That don't feel sad. You could feel physically attached to your emotions in the world and be in tune with yourself. But you can't, you don't always have to cry. You just don't have to worry about the physical things bullshit that always happens around you. And you don't have to be wrapped up all in it. And that's what he's saying today. And I love you all. Thank you for watching my top 10 decks of 2017 video. Kisses, hugs, bye.